Have you ever kind of stopped and looked back at your own life and wondered, is my story part of something, bigger? Well, today, we're diving into an author who built his entire career on that exact question. He's a master at weaving our own personal memories and our losses into the grand narrative of history. We're talking about the brilliant British novelist Graham Swift.
It's a question we all probably ask ourselves at some point, right? Are our lives just these tiny little footnotes that are going to be forgotten, or are they actually the very threads that make up the whole fabric of history? It's a massive, fascinating idea, and it's one that this author has spent a lifetime exploring.
And that's where Graham Swift comes in. For decades, he's basically been our literary guide through this super complex territory. He shows us just how deeply, and let's be honest, often messily, our personal memories get tangled up with public history. So let's jump in and see exactly how he does it.
Okay, so to really get Swift, you've got to start with what he's obsessed with: memory, history, and just the raw human experience. He's not just telling stories, he's actually questioning the whole act of storytelling itself. How we shape our own pasts and build these narratives just to make sense of our lives.
This quote right here, it just nails what makes him so good. His novels don't just pull at your heartstrings, they really challenge you to think. And that combination, that mix of feeling and intellect, that's the sign of a truly great writer.
So how does he pull this off? Well, one of his key moves is to root his stories in a very specific place, making the landscape itself a character that's just soaked in history. And this is never, ever more clear than in his most famous novel.
We're talking about his 1983 masterpiece, Waterland. Seriously, this is the book that put him on the map, and its incredible setting is absolutely central to its power.
So let's break this down. It's set in the Fens, which is this flat, marshy landscape in England that's always at risk of flooding. Our narrator, Tom Crick, is a history teacher who's about to get the sack. So, as this final act of defiance, he just ditches the official curriculum and starts telling his students his own family history. By weaving his family's dark secrets into the history of the Fens, he shows them that history isn't just a dry list of facts about kings and wars. No, it's a living, breathing thing that you can find in the mud, in the water, and in the stories we tell each other.
But it's not all about grand, sweeping history for Swift. He's also a master of the small, intimate stuff. He dives so deep into friendship, mortality, and all those powerful, unspoken connections that really shape who we are.
And a perfect example of this is his 1996 novel, Last Orders. The story is less about history with a capital H and way more about the small, personal histories that are shared between a group of old friends.
The plot sounds pretty simple, right? 4 friends take a road trip to scatter the ashes of their buddy, Jack, into the sea. But this simple journey becomes this profound exploration of their shared past. As they drive, the story jumps between their different voices, and it reveals a whole lifetime of memories, secrets, and regrets, all of it held together by this deep, unspoken bond. The road trip itself becomes a kind of map of their lives. It's just a moving meditation on friendship, loss, and the idea that the people we love are never really truly gone.
And, people really took notice. Last Orders won the prestigious Booker Prize back in 1996, which is one of the highest honors in literature. It absolutely cemented Swift's status as a major, major voice.
But here's what's so cool about Swift. His exploration of memory isn't just a one-trick pony. He has this incredible range that lets him explore the inner lives of his characters in totally different ways. He's just as at home in a quiet, everyday world as he is in something totally surreal and fantastical.
You can see this versatility perfectly if you just compare 2 of his novels. On one hand, you have his debut, The Sweet Shop Owner. It's this quiet, really poignant story of a man's emotional isolation, and it finds so much depth in just everyday life. And then, on the other hand, you get a book like Out of This World, which uses an almost sci-fi premise to explore a broken relationship. But here's the key. Whether the background is a small-town shop or some world-changing event, Swift's focus is always on the complex inner world of his characters.
So, when you put it all together, what is Graham Swift's ultimate contribution? What's his lasting legacy going to be in the world of literature?
It really all boils down to one thing: psychological insight. It's the magic ingredient that makes his characters feel so incredibly real. He just has this uncanny ability to get inside their heads and show us their memories, their regrets, their hopes, all the complicated machinery that makes us human.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway, isn't it? Swift's true genius is his profound reminder that our small, private stories, they matter. They aren't separate from history. They are history.
He shows us that the grand tapestry we read about in textbooks is actually woven from all the individual, often forgotten threads of ordinary lives.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If every life is a story that's all tangled up with the larger world, then what about yours? What threads from your past, from your memories, from your relationships are weaving a story that maybe you can't even see yet? What story is your own history just waiting to tell?